Amendment number 3.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I think that Chairman Williams had a brilliant idea in 2003. And I regret, Senator Williams, that I was not on the Finance Committee in 2003. If I had been on the Finance Committee, I would have done everything within my power to encourage all of our colleagues to follow through on your idea in 2003. But look, you ought not leave any good turn unserved. Any good deed ought not be left unserved. So this amendment, members, would allocate $50.4 million out of the System Benefit Fund to provide low-income Texans with access to health care. The Medicaid expansion will allow millions of Texans who previously have been unable to afford health care access to quality health care. It makes good sense for health care for our communities and the state, but it also makes good business sense. This is a very fiscally conservative amendment. For this expansion, Texas will receive 100% match for the first 3 years, and the match will be gradually reduced to 90% of the funding thereafter. Senator Davis mentioned that there'll still be money in this System Benefit Fund. It will have accumulated again even after this giveaway to those of us who could afford but don't want to pay our utility bills. According to the Legislative Budget Board, for an investment of $50.4 million, the state of Texas will draw down $4 billion. I want to say that again. For $50.4 million, the state of Texas will draw down $4 billion in matching funds. I'm just trying to fulfill the commitment of Senator Williams back when he was on the Finance Committee in 2003, so I hope that he will support this amendment. And again, I'm so sorry I was not on Finance with you in 2003, or we'd have gotten this done then.
Senator West, for what purpose?
I have a question for Senator Ellis.
Yes, sir.
Senator Ellis, so let's see, $50.4 million. We would be able to use that to leverage additional dollars from the federal government?
Yes, sir, $4 billion. 50.4 for $4 billion.
For $4 billion?
For $4 billion.
And so how many Texans would that assist?
Senator, we got about at least 1.5 million who are not served. So at least most of that 1.5 million.
So that's the only thing that we have to do is get Senator Williams to help us out on this, right?
Just get Senator Williams to come on back home. He was there in 2003.
He was right back then.
He was a good man then, and he's a good man now.
I voted for him back then.
I feel the love.
Yeah. And don't you think that Senator Williams should come on over to the caucus and vote with us on this one?
The only reason I didn't ask him to sign this amendment was I didn't think of it until he mentioned that he was for this in 2003. And it was such a good idea. If I get the list of who was on Finance back then, I'm going to talk to every one of them.
Now, you recall that Senator Williams has been trying to find a way in order to cover more Texans, insure more Texans. You know that, right?
He has put a lot of effort into it, and I know in the political environment there were a lot of things going on. I saw the op-ed that he did in the Houston Chronicle, and to be honest with you, I was moved by it. And I think with this money, language could be added to meet all of those factors that he laid out in that op-ed in the Houston Chronicle a couple of months ago.
It's only thing we have to do is to get him to take this amendment.
We just got to get him
to begin the process, right?
To be where he was in 2003. That's all it takes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Senator West. Senator Lucio, for what purpose?
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Senator Ellis, this is really not a funny issue. It's not a funny amendment, is it?
Senator, when you think about Texas being at the very bottom in terms of the number of people that we don't provide health care for in this state. I mean, out of all of the statistics that you can look at in Senator Shapley's old book, he'd come into every session and hold his book up, Texas on the brink. I mean, it's an embarrassment.
You served as chairman of finance. I served with you back in the 1990s. We had a wait line in those years, and you don't have to be a member of the finance committee to know that there's still a wait line out there, and that wait line is growing, correct?
That's correct.
and there's a tremendous need in terms of those that are ill and those that are in waiting, for the state, to address their health care issues. And this amendment would go a long ways to put more than a dent in what the need is in our state when it comes to those that qualify for Medicaid. Is that correct?
Well, Senator, it ties in because there's one thing during the winter months and you can't afford heating. It's another thing during the summer months and you cannot afford air conditioning. But when you have a problem and you need health care, people first want food and then they want health care. And you're right, it is a very serious issue.
Well, I think you put those in the right perspective. If they're dying, obviously, and we don't provide and share the necessities with them, then they will die. My doctor told me that there are literally people out there dying because they can't afford to live. And this is an opportunity for us to save lives. So when we look at it and we joke around a little bit, this really is not a joking issue. This is not a joking amendment. This is an amendment that will have far-reaching positive effects to the people in this state that are in dire need of health care services.
Senator, it's a very tough amendment, I hope, for our colleagues to vote against. I would say that, I hear rumblings that someone may try and raise a point of order, of course, and I'm going to let the parliamentarian give advice to the presiding officer and rule on it. But if that is the case, I would hope that members will not pass this bill on the backside because the language could be broadened if somebody does raise that point of order so you can do this. But I think that this fits within the germaneness standards of this bill. I can't think of anything that would benefit the system in Texas more than to give more people access to health care.
Well, I thank you for your amendment. Thank Senator West, Senator Davis, and those that are supporting this amendment, because if we ever wanted to do something to open the doors to millions of Texans to have access to health care, this is the moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lucio. Senator Williams on floor amendment number 3 by Ellis.
Senator Ellis, respectfully, my bill, the subject of my bill is refunding the money out of the system benefit fund, and what you're trying to do with this amendment is appropriate money out of the system benefit fund for another purpose. And just respectfully, I don't believe it's germane to my bill. However worthy your cause might be, this isn't the vehicle to address that, and I would raise a point of order against further consideration of the amendment number 3 because it is not germane to the bill at hand.
Senator Williams, would you bring your point of order forward?